Maman, maman t'a toujours dit, mon gars, c'est mieux de se taire.
Welcome to East Coast DNA. Back here with Mia Kelly. Now, the first question, I pre-warned you before we started getting into this. You are a Canadian that sings in both French and English, but in my research, I was troubling Quebec versus Ontario. So you're both listed as being from Gatineau, which I assume you were born in Quebec,
Yeah.
and you're now listed in a lot of places as being Ottawa. So I feel like they adopted you at some point.
So the National Capital Region is a funny place, and they just kind of conglomerate together. But I am Quebecoise. I'm from Gatineau, Quebec, and I live here still. But I can see I live right on the river, so I can see Ottawa from my front door.
Yeah, being from the East Coast and being that we're primarily made up of smaller communities, that happens a lot down here. Like whatever community has a decent sized population in their own media, they'll say they're from here.
Yeah.
Which I do that with any artist that moves to Pictou County. They're a Pictou County artist like forever from that point. So I don't blame them.
Yeah,
so
no.
You definitely are still in Quebec then.
I am, yeah. Okay. Although, like this area is so kind of flexible and Ottawa also feels partly like home. So it's just, but I am Quebecoise and in Gatineau. Yeah.
Excellent. So now that we have that established, for the for the viewers that are not familiar with you already, you're a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
I would lean the genre a little bit more into the folk category, but I'm definitely getting a lot of vibes of inspirations from some older rock material too. So I am curious, given your age, I know you're in your early 20s. So the inspirations that you would have behind your own personal vocal stylings specifically. Am I right? Are you like, did mom and dad have some albums for you that you liked, or did you pick up something in your high school years? Where did that come from?
So it's an interesting question. I kind of started singing in musical theater, and so evolving from that was really fun and also interesting to like kind of navigate that shift. And then a ton of vocalists that I could reference, but like I as a younger person loved I was in love with Adele, and like Amy Winehouse was huge, and then also lyricists Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen, Simon and Garfunkel, Peter Gabriel. So like a lot of kind of different influences that have now kind of more transformed into a lot of more modern influences, I would say. But yeah, a huge kind of repertoire of folk rock, and then other genres that kind of trickle in.
And so with most of those being primarily like English based, if not all of it, I'm curious, like as a bilingual person, I could see why you would gravitate towards singing in both languages. And anybody that watches a lot of my episodes have probably caught me catching a few different people that do some French stuff that maybe isn't always as highlighted. So I always like to bring it up if somebody's using both of our national languages. But I'm curious, with a strong English influence in music, was there a conscious decision to say, well, I'm going to record in both languages, or is it more so that your brain thinks in both languages, so you write in both languages?
I think it was a lot more exactly that. So if a certain situation would happen in French, or feelings that I was having were coming up in French, it would just not make any sense to me to write in English for that circumstance or that particular topic. And my life is so bilingual. At home, in school, I did all of my schooling in French until Cégep, where I went to English Cégep. And so and I also I didn't reference any, but I listened to a lot of Quebecois music, of French music, and so it only felt right to be doing both. And if ever I released a project in just one language, I think it would feel odd and yeah, just inaccurate to who I am. And people seem to really resonate with some of the French things, even if they have no idea what I'm talking about, or if they do know what I'm talking about. But it does have I've been told it has like a different sound to it, which I think is really neat. And sometimes I hear, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have heard it that way, but that's pretty cool to be interpreted differently. And
yeah, I'm even hearing like Jefferson Airplane, Fleetwood Mac kind of stuff in there. Like
totally.
It's unique for now, but I'm also picking up a lot of stuff that would feed into that as well. So
Yeah.
it's a curious time in the music industry where all those genres are being fused together, and it's interesting to see like people like yourself that are up and coming, and what you're bringing to the table isn't necessarily what people would expect. Like there's no cookie cutter formula for the music industry anymore. There's definitely like it's a full smorgasbord for food. You can just get whatever you want.
And well, yeah, and it makes it more fun and more creative and less limiting in terms of songwriting. And I think it makes it challenging when I have to like do a really short set, because I'm like, oh, but I have all these like micro facets that I would like to to deliver a full, Mia Kelly show and experience. Or album. When I'm curating the track list for an album, it's like, how do I, there's some blues and there's some rock and there's some like really stripped down, more vulnerable singer songwritery folk type stuff, and then there's instrumentation that are pulling from a bunch of different places. And so it's really cool to, I've never made music with the genre in mind. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never been writing because, oh, this is what fits into what I've been doing. It just kind of has all kind of made its way into a kind of big, meld of all these genres. And it's cool to see what connects with who and why, and to see that it's been working despite having to kind of like box myself into a really specific genre, which is really like fun, frankly.
It's very exciting, just like even like from the fan point of view, to see that artists are having opportunities to do that. Because like with yourself specifically, your debut album, like you had a lot of success like right out of the gate. Like it wasn't like you put out something experimental to see if people would like people liked it, like they picked it up and you got audiences. So like you had momentum from day one. As far as like releasing an album and supporting it. Was there a lot of time leading up to that to get to that point, or were you just extremely lucky?
So you're referencing Garden Through the War.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put a lot of thought and time and energy, as everyone and anyone would to make an album. But before that, when I was 16, I released a 4-song EP.
Okay.
That was just kind of my introduction to releasing music, to attempting to build a fan base and learning what I wanted to be sounding like. And frankly, I made it because I had I was graduating high school, and they needed like a big project. And so it doesn't have to be anything specific. It can be whatever you want, but just, you have to spend a lot of time on it. And I was like, cool, I want to make a record. And so I saved up my pennies, and after school I would go and record in this awesome studio in Ottawa called Little Bullhorn Studios.
Cool.
And we made a little EP, and I had an EP launch at the Black Sheep, and it was all very exciting. And kind of, I'd been doing shows and stuff and writing for a couple of years, and so that was really my introduction. And so from there I did a lot of gigging, a lot of making friends and connections, and then I was a little bit more well surrounded when came time to release Garden Through the War, because I had a little bit more of a team. It still was very much a huge learning curve, but It's been super well received, which is so much fun, and has just given me like a lot of momentum and desire to share this new record. So.
And now, as far as the instrumentation behind, like in the transition from your initial EP up into when you released your debut album, was there like a formation of a band, or do you prefer to work with like session people? How do you work in that area?
So I, for live performances, I always perform solo.
Mm-hmm.
I've only done like a handful of band shows in my life. But I was fortunate enough from the EP to the album to keep the same drummer, who is a fantastic drummer who has played on some of my favorite records ever. His name is Olivier Fairfield, and he's done like Andy Schaaf and Leif Vollebeck and just a ton of amazing artists. And so he's from my hometown, and he came and recorded on everything I've done pretty much, which is
Excellent.
awesome. Yeah, and then I did that album and the most recent one with Jim Bryson in Stittsville, Ontario, and so we kind of had a crew of our friends and local musicians come and play on that. And so it's been really cool to connect with all these different musicians and see what they bring to the table. And we never in the studio has it been like it's always really in the moment and let's jam it, see what works, see what doesn't, and then it's kind of off the floor, which is really fun in the more creative process, not in the recording process itself, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives you kind of that more authentic feeling too when you're going about it that way.
Yeah, and just letting these extremely seasoned and genius musicians bring their magic to the songs, which I'm happy to have like a strong creative direction too, but also like I'm just blown away most of the time. It's like it's incredible to see what the little secret sauce that everyone brings. Yeah.
So with those collaborations, we talked about your initial releases, but you've had a couple new singles since that debut album, and just recently you released two more, which kind of gets into our conversation about the French English.
Yeah.
You released an English and a French song at the same time as two separate singles.
Yeah.
But not just a mere translation of one song. They're two different songs.
Two different songs, yeah. Yeah, it's that was a fun decision. It was kind of an odd decision, frankly. It's not something that a lot of people do, especially in two languages, but in the rollout of these singles, I wanted to be I was meticulously picking when and where and why, and these two songs both share the same topic, and they're very character driven and very story driven, and I had already put out two English singles, and I was like gonna do the third one, and then I was like, but it feels a little bit wonky. There's no French coming out yet, and so I was like, oh, I could bring those two together, and there might be another single coming out in the next couple weeks that is also French, which helps in terms of pitching that to like Quebec markets and stuff as the French kind of bundle.
Yeah, no, it sounds like an awesome strategy. And it is unique from my point of view. So I'm really curious to see how it goes. Because I do see, like I mentioned, I primarily interview English artists, but occasionally I'll see a French song released. And in my own personal listening, I don't run into that a lot unless I'm specifically going and looking for it.
Totally.
So I do find that a very creative choice, and I do think it would probably play to different demographics, especially with like radio play. So yeah, it'll be curious to see how that goes, and it's excellent hype for the album. So speaking of which, your new album, it's still a ways off. So the album's To Be Clear.
It is.
And the release date's October 4th of this year?
You got it. Yeah.
So you must be doing a lot of live dates between now and then to continue building your audience for that album.
Yeah, it's been pretty full on since May, really. And I did a Northern Alberta tour, a UK tour, and then I came home from the UK, and it's just been festivals, go, 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 all summer long, which is the most fun thing ever. I love it. It's like summer camp for adults.
I would be able to imagine in the past, but specifically this year, because of this role that I have, I've had a lot of opportunities to go to festivals, and it's been like 2 months every weekend I'm at a festival.
Yeah.
So like it's tiring, but
yeah, it's exhausting. Totally.
It's a charmed kind of problem where you can't complain about it because you're having a great time.
Yeah, and it keeps rolling. Frankly, it doesn't stop until like November, and
Yeah.
so it's just shows until kind of mid-September. The festival season rolls on, and then I have maybe 2 weeks off, and then the album comes out, and I'm touring across the country.
Excellent.
A headline tour, and then I'm going to be supporting Good Lovelies on their West Coast tour. So
cool.
It's just going to be like a dream and a half.
So I imagine the full itinerary for your headlining tour is probably not completely ironed out yet this far in advance, but I do know you're coming here like this week. You're coming down for Lunenburg Folk Harbor Festival.
Yeah, it's my first time there. I'm so stoked. Yeah.
It's definitely the best time of year to come, is like right at the end of July, beginning of August. Those are our best. If you like hot weather, it's definitely the best time.
Yeah. I was in I got to tour the East Coast in the last fall, and we were playing in Riverport, I believe. Is that a place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not too far from Lunenburg, and it was one of my favorite shows of the tour. The vibe was just amazing, and the community was really nice, and everyone. We had just found out that we were coming back for Folk Harbor, and it was just like an extremely fun time, and I'm really looking forward to that festival, and the lineup is pretty awesome as well. So just seeing a bunch of pals.
Oh yeah, no, it should be great vibes. I know that a lot of those festivals, it's the buildup of it being there all day or as the weekend goes on, there is just the kind of vibe that like everybody's on the same page, that work is work. That's not today. I'm at a music festival. I'm here to enjoy some music. It's just nice to see everybody out in the nice weather and enjoying themselves. We had a few years to build back up to this, but it really feels like we're in a place now where we can have these large gatherings and everyone seems to be comfortable.
And it feels so good.
It is.
I agree. I think it feels really good this summer.
Yeah.
Everyone, I think, is really thrilled to just be enjoying themselves.
Exactly.
Actually, like festivals are just,
the opportunities are overwhelming.
Yeah.
But like once again, that's a charmed problem to kind of have anyway. So it's a problem I'm willing to have for sure.
Totally.
Now, when you do get the new album out and start your headlining tour, do you have East Coast dates planned? Is that part of it?
So for now, the as east as I go is Montreal.
Yeah.
And then we are planning, I can't say too much because I don't know exactly. Yeah. But it's 2025. I'll be on the East Coast for sure.
Well, excellent.
Yeah, it'll be pretty good. I've been there twice now, and so to return with this album is gonna hopefully feel pretty special to reconnect with everyone.
We should definitely do a follow-up closer to those dates, and I'll get an update on how the album is and how doing the French English release went.
Yeah, exactly. Did it flop?
Yeah.
We'll find later.
Yeah. If it really takes off, maybe I'll never hear from you again. You'll just be too busy. So that's what we'll assume. Yeah.
Don't even remember that guy.
So
no, I would love to. Yeah.
And before I let you go, first of all, where can people find you online?
Everywhere that they listen to music. My website it's up and running. It's just been updated, I think, today with a bunch of new album information. And then all the social medias, except for Twitter, because or X or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I have an account. I haven't been using it. So
I think so do I, but it's overwhelming. My brain can't do it. So I have all the other ones though. So wherever, Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the thingies, all the bells and whistles. Yeah.
So in the description below will have your website listed as well, and I specifically want to have that there because when I was navigating around the website, I must have caught the update there just before this interview. I was back in there getting a quick refresher, so I know that the bio was updated.
Yeah, true.
So when I was looking on there, you have pre-order information for the October release.
Yeah.
And there's a few different bundles and some bonus packages. And I believe you have listed that if people pre-order now, that they can actually get the album a little in advance from other people.
Yeah. And don't tell anyone. Actually, you can tell everyone because this is going on the internet. But I have the actual physical CD with me. Excellent. And I've been touring with it since June. So I brought it to the UK. I've been bringing it to festivals. So if people come out to the fest or to any of the gigs, they can get their hands on the album months before anyone else does.
Excellent. So. Does that include the Lunenburg fans that may be seeing you?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. So bring some cash.
Yeah, exactly. Bring some cash if you see me next week in Lunenburg, and I'll give you a CD.
Awesome. And now one other thing that we typically do with artists that we've featured on these episodes is we'll play off with one of their songs. Oh. Now, you can pick anything from your catalog. I know a lot of people will go towards their new singles, but I do know that you had 2 singles at the same time, so I would have no idea which one to pick.
Go with Lone Dog, maybe. Lone Dog's a fun one. Yeah, and it just came out last week.
Awesome. So we'll play off here with Lone Dog, and let's schedule a follow-up for the new year so we can find out how things are going and get those East Coast dates from you.
Absolutely. So lovely chatting to you.
Yes, you as well. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.
See ya.
Hi, my name is Mia Kelly, and you're listening to my new song, Lone Dog. It's a song that depicts a really awful fictional character named Tom Baker, and it leaves you on a cliffhanger wondering what's going to happen to him. Tom works in the garden. Tom waits in line. Tom thinks he's a charmer when he reeks of moonshine. Lone dog in the yard, not a leash in sight. When he pads into town, it's a bark and a bite. Well, loyal, hard boiled, Tom typically gets his way. Too hungry, no more money, the beast with the belly's gonna pay. Said he lost his manners back in '66. He doesn't ask before touching when he's itching for a fix. He's a real Casanova with a wide